Today, we are going to talk about shoulder blade movement. In particular, shoulder blade movement with arm movement. Now, I know in the past I talk a ton and I really overly emphasize sometimes to stabilize the shoulder blade in the early stages of recovery. And yes, I do think that's important because what happens most of the time is that there's a lot of weakness and there's too many moving parts. So when you go to move the arm, muscles that move the arm also attach to the shoulder blade, and when the shoulder blade is moving, it just doesn't make the arm movement as efficient. So to set yourself up for success, I recommend stabilizing the shoulder blade in the early stages. However, that's not real world. Our shoulder blade actually does move when our arm moves, and so there are benefits, or there are some situations where you really do want to start working shoulder blade movement with arm movement. And that's what we're going to go over today. So if you're new to this channel, I'm Tara, I'm a neurologic physical therapist, and on this channel we talk about anything and everything related to mobility, health, fitness, and mindset in the context of neurologic injury, with the end goal of empowering you with as many tools as possible to take ownership of your health and your rehab to live an overall more mobile, active, pain-free, happier, healthier life. And all that said, today we are going to talk about dynamic stabilization of the shoulder blade. So I know that's a huge fancy word, but basically all that means is that as the shoulder blade is moving, that's the flat bone on the back, the muscles also have to be stabilizing the shoulder blade. So it's kind of like they have to allow it to move a little bit, but not too much. And that's kind of a different function of the shoulder blade muscles that I haven't really addressed in a lot of videos, in previous videos. So let me take you back a little bit for those of you that are new or maybe haven't seen those videos. A lot of times I recommend that you stabilize the shoulder blade when working the arm, and I do still recommend that in the really early stages, but that's not real life. Our shoulder blade really does move with our arm bone, and that is kind of what these exercises are going to focus on today, is how do you move the arm, allow the shoulder blade to do what it needs to do, but not allow the shoulder blade to do too much movement. So that's dynamic stabilization. It's moving, but it's also being stabilized. So the main movements we're going to go over is backwards. So the shoulder blade needs to be able to move back when you bring the arm backwards out to the side, and the shoulder blade kind of moves out to the side. So we'll go through a couple of exercises for that. And then reaching overhead, the shoulder blade kind of moves out to the side and rotates upward. And we do want to allow those movements to happen. So as much as I think stabilizing the shoulder blade is important, this would be another area that I also think is important to incorporate some of these exercises into your routine. So let's go ahead and dive into today's exercises. So the first exercise we're going to do is we're going to work the arm back into extension and try and allow kind of that shoulder blade to move backwards with it, kind of getting a good rhythm, which is what happens under normal conditions. So you're going to start just sitting on a chair, and you're just going to slide your bottom to the edge of the chair. If you have pretty decent arm strength, from there, you're just going to slide your bottom off. Now, what I want you to focus on, because I've shown this exercise where we've focused on other parts of the body that we're trying to train. In this exercise, what I want you to focus on is that as you're scooting those hips forward, that you're squeezing those shoulder blades backwards behind you, kind of squeezing them together as you extend your arms backwards, and then you're going to come forward. So again, slide those hips forward. If you have the arm strength, you're going to slide them all the way off the chair and come back. One more time. Slide it all the way off and come back. So for this exercise, very similar to the previous exercise, only probably a little bit more challenging for a lot of you. We're still kind of keeping those arms in extension, so kind of behind you a little bit. And again, same thing, you're trying to squeeze those shoulder blades together as you come up. So again, you can do this with your legs bent or straight. Straight's going to be a little bit harder than having them bent. So if you want to start with them bent, you can do that. And then eventually you can straighten them out, and same thing. Kind of want to drift those hips forward or drift your body forward. Again, trying to move those arms into extension and squeezing those shoulder blades together as you lift those hips, and then back down. And then again, kind of pushing those arms back behind you as you lift, and back down. So for this exercise, what we're working is, this is actually the working arm. And again, what we're trying to do is we are bringing that arm backwards. So when you're coming back up, you do want to think about kind of pushing your elbow back as you rotate back up. So you're just going to lift your hips, having your weight on this arm right here. You're just going to kind of reach this arm through. And then as you bring it back up, you can see that this arm kind of rotates back, and then again back through, and then rotates back. If you wanted to make it a little bit harder, you could try and come up onto an extended arm, and same thing, you're going to reach it through, and then bring it back up, reach it through, and then rotate back up. Now for this exercise, what we're working on is reaching the arms up overhead. This is a good one to work with that shoulder blade movement. Again, this one's probably for those of you that might be a little bit more higher level, where you already do have some control of your shoulder blades. But again, the goal is to kind of push those arms away from you as you raise your butt in the air. So just to show you that again, you're going to push those arms, push those hands kind of away from you. You can see those are kind of bringing my arms up overhead, and then dropping those hips down. And one more time, pushing those arms up overhead and back down. So if that previous exercise is a little bit hard, this would be a modification where there's not as much weight on your arms. So again, you're just kind of going to a higher surface. So pretty much on that last one, obviously my feet and my hands were level with each other. You can see now my hands are above my feet, so it does make it a little bit easier. So same thing, you're going to start with those hands kind of closer to your body, and then you're pushing those arms away from your body. Starting with them a little bit closer to your body, and again pushing them away from your body. And now for some of you, all of those that we just did might be a little bit challenging. This might be an easier setup because you don't actually have a whole lot of weight on your arms, as was the case with some of the previous exercises. So same thing with these straps. I'll put a link for these in the description below. You don't need like an overhead bar necessarily. They do have ones that hook over a door, which would work just as well. And for this, what you're going to do is try and keep those arms straight. And you're just going to lean forward and come back. Again, just lean forward and back. And then for this next one, we're going to work the side a little bit. So you're just going to lean out to the side, kind of reach that arm up. Really requires a lot of those stabilizers around the shoulder blade. You're going to reach that arm out to the side and come back up. And then you're going to reach out to the side, and if you wanted to add like a little twist, again, it's just another plane of motion that's really forcing or kind of encouraging your shoulder blade and your arm to work together. So again, you're just going to reach across and then come back, reach across and come back. And I recommend doing this at a few different angles. So even putting that hand a little bit lower, and same thing, reach across and back. Now, one thing you want to pay attention to is that that shoulder isn't hugged up by your ear and pressing forward. You want to kind of press it down and a little bit towards the back. You just don't want it riding up towards your ear. Now, there is no perfect on this one. We're trying to just teach that shoulder blade how to move and stabilize at the same time. So it does not have to be perfect. However, if you have a lot of spasticity or a lot of tone, it might actually be painful. So just paying attention to that. And again, put this hand at different levels and reach across and come back. Reach across and come back. So for this exercise, you guys know I love tools. I know a lot of you probably don't have a boxing bag attached to a stick like this at home, but I know you guys are pretty creative, so I thought I would just show you kind of how you can use some tools, or maybe you even have some stuff around your house to also work on those shoulder blade stabilizers while the shoulder blade is moving. So this allows both of those things to occur. But again, if you, just like the previous exercise, if you don't have a lot of arm strength, that's just a modification that you can make. I also put the elbow immobilizer on for this one just to show you guys that if you can't straighten your arm out, there are ways to modify this as well. And then also just strapping your hand to it so that if you don't have grip, you can still do something similar to this. And then the reason I like this boxing bag, and I will put a link for it in the description below, although I don't think you need to buy it just for this one exercise, is that it's on a spring. And so it does offer a little bit of resistance just in the spring system that's on it. So that does kind of encourage you to work those shoulder blade muscles a little bit as well. Then you're just going to push that out to the side. Things you want to pay attention to, especially if you're someone that needs all of these tools, it means you probably do have some tone potentially in your arm, is that you're not letting your shoulder ride up and that it's not staying forward or that it's not dropped down. So again, a mirror works great just to make sure your shoulders are staying level. And then again, show you from the side a little bit, you just want to push it out to the side, kind of allowing that shoulder blade to kind of move down and back. And then that is it for this video. I hope you guys found that video helpful. If anything, what I hope you gained from this video is not necessarily that you should be able to do all of these exercises, but just to kind of get that idea in your head of ways to work the muscles that both stabilize the shoulder blade and allow that flat bone, that shoulder blade, to move at the same time in conjunction with arm movement. There is a rhythm that naturally occurs between our shoulder blade and our arm bone. And because most of the exercises I do, I talk about stabilizing the shoulder blade, I did think it was important to show exercises that do encourage that rhythm, especially when you get into higher level activities where that is going to become even more important. These are some things that you can work on early on, hopefully, to again start encouraging that arm shoulder blade rhythm in conjunction with the shoulder blade attaching to your body, but just starting to work that rhythm. So again, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you're new to this channel and you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so that you will get notified every time I upload new videos. If you like these kind of videos and you want to get videos throughout the week, head on over to Instagram and make sure you follow us over there, where I post 1 to 2 videos every single week, in addition to what I post over here on YouTube. They're completely different. I don't repurpose a lot of content, meaning that the videos I show here, I'm not just repurposing them on Instagram. They are usually completely different exercises, so it does help to give you a little bit more variety throughout the week. If you like these videos and you want a little bit more community, we do offer a monthly membership for just $5 that gives you access to our monthly lives, as well as our Discord channel that's for members only. So if you wanted to interact with a little bit more intimate group of people that are kind of going through the same things that you're going through, definitely check that out. Link for that is in the description below. If you wanted to join our gold membership, you will get access to an entire library of exercises, all of which are not necessarily here on YouTube. In addition to that, the exercises are in a software system where you can filter through by problem or area of the body to get to the exercises that are specific to your particular movement problems. So link for that gold membership is also in the description below if you wanted to learn more about that. I enjoyed spending time with you all today, and I'll see you in the next video. You guys have a good day.